Torgan here and Jack Knapp.
All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact between the Mercedes teammates.
Denoso with a crafty maneuver up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Borman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to PSGL PC F4 here for round 12, the season finale around Bahrain. I am Lindsay Model, I am a brand new face here in PSGL, so hopefully I am getting a little bit of a warm welcome, and I am joined by Max, who you'd be all too familiar with from this season. How are you, Max?
Hello everybody, pleasure to be back here for the season finale, and pleasure for Lindsay to be joining me in the commentary box for his first race of in his PSGL career. But yes, I'm very good, thank you, Lindsay. How are you on this, well, in Australia, it'll be a Friday morning for you, so how are you this morning in Australia?
Well, I'm pretty excited to be here, but other than that, pretty tired. I haven't slept, but it's 7:03 in the morning, and I'm here for the racing action. And I've also noticed that my camera is not fit right, but problem for another day because I can't fix that right now. But yeah, so the drivers are out lapping around the circuit right now, and we would have had a bit of a championship fight on our hands, but Campbell Adams has decided not to attend this final round of the season. So our race isn't how good.
Yeah, take your time, no rush.
I think it's back. There we go. Oh, but it's super.
But again, no rush, don't panic.
Alrighty, we are back. Sorry about that one. Just slight technical difficulty, which I didn't pick up when I was setting up my the stream overlays today. But anyway, we are back here, and here is the grid. So we have 13 drivers on the grid tonight, and I am fresh to the grid, so I don't know who's going to be super competitive out here. So Max, do you want to fill myself and the viewers into who we expect to be out the front tonight?
Yeah, so of course, drivers we will be expecting up the front tonight. Of course, Lindsay already said Campbell Adams, unfortunately not being here, removes the title fight. So it does mean the man currently second in the timesheets, Alexander Dimas, is your champion. So he heads into this one with the championship in his hands, and it will be all gloves off now, fighting for this race victory. So expect him up at the front. Another driver, maybe Daniel Gottschalk. He's someone to look out for. Lighty as well. He was in the championship fights. He's gone to provisional pole for majority of the season. Got knocked out last round in Vegas. So Lighty certainly one to keep an eye on. Same with the two McLaren boys of Kai and Isaac Lee. They can certainly throw a hand in for pole position at the very least. And the man who was also leading the championship for oh so long and some crucial penalties might have cost him earlier on in the season from clinching this world title, and that is the Aston Martin of Exafox. He is still someone very racy, very aggressive, and someone who can still throw a good old punch at the top of the field. So, yeah, Exafox, Dimas, Lighty, and the two McLarens of Kai and Isaac Lee, definitely the drivers to look out for this evening. And, of course, championship no longer on the line. It'll be a very, very eventful evening, to say the least, Lindsay.
Yeah, and that's always the thing when the championship's under wraps. When you go into the final race, it's, as you said, gloves off, and that means all of the drivers are just willing to fight for the race victory and set themselves up for the best run going into the next season, because momentum is absolutely everything in such a competitive environment, and that is just the way it goes. All of the drivers will be looking to make a name for themselves heading into the next season of PSGL.
Yeah, it certainly will, as Exafox is setting a lap time here in the Aston Martin, heading through the middle sector. But yeah, momentum's so key, especially on the end of a season. Heading into the next one with a win under your belt in the final round of the previous one is certainly a good way to kickstart that momentum and get the ball rolling. Exafox heading through turn 13 there, now heading down the hill into turn 14. This is late on the brakes, down to 4th gear, get it through that right-hander. Turn 15's this little kink on the exit. Exafox got to use the DRS up to the line. Where will this lap time put the Aston Martin? He goes third fastest, only 2 tenths off Lighty, so a decent lap time there on tyres that were already a lap old.
Yeah, that is very competitive for used tyres, so that just gives you a little bit of perspective as to what we can expect to see from Exafox later in the session. As there's a couple of drivers on outlaps currently, Daniel Gottschalk being one of them, as well as Aaron Raminguez in the Williams in P11. Excuse my inability to pronounce names. 7 o'clock in the morning, as I said. And also Patrick Dachmeyer in the Aston Martin in P12, and as well as Isaac Lee in the P13 McLaren, who we are watching right now off board as they get ready to go around a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit as they head down to the right-hand side of the straight. Would you like to take away an onboard lap here?
Yes, let's go ahead then with Isaac Lee. Of course, going to the right-hand side to avoid the bumps and the scraping that you'll pick up. Braking at around about 100 metres. Get the car down to 3rd gear, then run it out wide as you head through turn 2. And it's kink right of turn 3. DRS open as you head up the hill, up into turn 4. Very easy to lock the front right into this corner. You want to brake at the 100-metre board once again. Clip that apex curb and then just run the car all the way out wide. You really just got to use the momentum through that corner as you now head through turns 5 and then into 6 and 7. And it's very nicely done there from Isaac Lee. Late on the brakes, into the turn 8 airpin. Easy to drop the rear on traction here. Very off camber and can really, really unsettle the car. So now into turn 9, which then leads into the braking zone of 10. Easy to lock the front left brake and run just a tiny bit wide. Difficult on the exit as well. But Isaac Lee navigating that with ease as he then keeps to the right-hand side. For the entry into turn 11, down to 5th gear. You then want to just ride the momentum, ride that power all the way to the right-hand side. You then swing it back across to the left and then to the right again for 12, which then leads you into 13. A blind apex here, very difficult to keep the car within track limits on the exit, but does that very nicely as the McLaren now heads back down the hill into the final 2 corners. We'll see where this lap time will put him. He'll be aiming for at least the top 5, or maybe round where his teammate is of Kai, who's currently second. Raminguez goes to provisional pole, first driver into the 25s. Isaac Lee does get into those top 5 with a 26.524. Gottschalk now heading through the final corner. Now, where can the Mercedes driver go? His teammate Baesner is currently sitting in 8th. Where's Gottschalk got to go? He then displaces Isaac Lee for 5th, but only just. But Aaron Raminguez, what a lap in the Williams. He has thrown down a statement at the mid-stage of this session.
Yeah, a 25.9, a very competitive lap time and quite far ahead of the car in P2. 2.5 tenths is nothing to slouch about in a stage of qualifying like this, as Patrick Dachmeyer has invalidated his lap time in this qualifying session, but currently very, very far ahead of the P2 car, Lighty, who is currently on a lap and only 100th up as they head through the middle sector in the Alpine through turn 10 down the hill. Very tricky braking zone, but they'll be looking as they go further and further into this lap to push more and more and more to get closer to Aaron Ramirez as they head through the lap, and also just to cover off the cars behind that will also be improving as this qualifying session goes on. And then towards the final runs, that is when the pressure will really be on as Lighty invalidates heading in towards turn number 12.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Lighty. Just got a little bit of oversteer as well on the exit of turn 11. And then on the exit 12, just running a little bit too wide for 13 and picking up an invalidation. Still sits in second place currently. Kai is on a lap, but there are a few drivers a little bit further around on their laps. Pasheki is going to come into the pit lane. Alexander Dimas is on the lap, of course. Your champion-elect. Where can he go on this second run as he comes across the line? He goes fourth fastest, a 26.390, just behind Kai in third. So back over to that was actually, I think that was Menno actually going up to, no, it was Baisner, sorry, up into P5. Mercedes driver putting in a very good lap time, displacing his teammate. Of course, this track will constantly be evolving. It will constantly be improving as drivers set lap times, as the track will get more and more rubbered in, and there'll be more grip for them to find. And on those final few runs, the track will be at its peak. And just like Lindsay said, the pressure will be mounted. At that point, there'll be no retries, no redos. And that mistake could come costly if you do pick one up on the final runs. You have a lifeline here in this middle stage of qualifying if you do make that costly error. But come the end of qualifying, it can be a completely different story. You could see yourself being the top 4 before those runs and then end up down in 9th or 10th.
Yeah, and speaking of pressure as well, Patrick Dackmeyer has struggled in the first 2 attempts of setting a lap time in this qualifying session, and he's currently out on another outlap in this qualifying session at Bahrain, and it just really mounts the pressure on, because that means you have to get this run right to set up your final runs. Otherwise, you'll be under some immense pressure, more than any of the other drivers on the grid heading into the final runs. But Exa Fox, his teammate, is about to start a lap here in the green Aston Martin. He rounds the final corner and onto the straight under the lights here in Bahrain. And let's see if Exa Fox can improve. So running down towards turn 1, a 26.496 is the lap time he'll have to improve on to move up on his previous best, and a 4.36 he'll have to beat to move up a place past Menno de Bever as he opens up the DRS and towards turn number 4. So getting ready to brake all the way over the left-hand side of the track. Get it down, 4th gear, and just tip the car across before planting your foot down, and then down the hill through the highest downforce section of the track. Flick it right, flick it left. You've got to have confidence in your car to stay gripped to the surface, and then braking into the hairpin. Don't lock up and just keep the car nice and tidy. Very easy to lose traction, and then down towards turn number 10, the hardest corner on the circuit. Downhill braking makes it a very big pressure point on the lap. It's easy to make a mistake and throw it all away, but he negotiated it well as he heads towards turn number 11. A fast left-hander, get all over the curb, dab the brakes, flick it in 5th gear, and then power your way all the way up the hill before you go flat out through turn 12 and into turn 13. Tricky braking zone, already a 10th up is Exa Fox, so it'll be a big improvement currently if he keeps at his steady rate of improvement towards the final corner now. Getting ready to brake all the way over the curb and then hook the car in through the right. Don't invalidate at the final moment of the lap, and towards the line now. Exa Fox is going to set a 1 minute 26.344 and move up into P3 in this qualifying session.
Very nice lap time there from Exa Fox, but still 4 tenths back from Aaron Ramirez. The Williams driver's lap still holding on strongly. And talking about him, he is now on a lap. Patrick Dackmeyer did get that a valid lap completed, and he was able to just get a lap time on the board. That would help him massively heading into the final runs. Just removes a little bit of pressure and gives him a target to aim for. So back on board with the Williams of Aaron Ramirez. What's it going to be in the middle sector split? He is still up on that lap, so he's up by nearly 400ths of a second, and the lap we thought could have not been toppled. Ramirez might just streak even further clear at the top of the time. So now into the final braking zone of 14. Just look at the commitment through there, using all the curb on corner exits. It will be DRS open, heading up to the line. What can we see from Ramirez? A 10th improvement, a 125.894. That puts him 3.5 tenths clear, at the front of the field. Ramirez, take a bow. I do not see that lap time being beaten anytime soon in this qualifying qualifying session, but Kai is up by 2.5 tenths. Could he maybe pose a threat for the front row of the grid?
That is a good question as Kai heads towards the final corner. It's a very tricky corner of the lap. It's deceptively hard to not invalidate your lap time, but rounding the final corner now, where can Kai place himself in this qualifying session? In the Papaya McLaren, P2 at the moment, and that is by a reasonable margin over Lighty, 900ths of a second to the car behind, but still a massive distance to Raminguez, who just has a chokehold on this qualifying session, it looks like, at this current stage, and it's such an impressive lap from that Williams on provisional pole.
It certainly is. Ramirez has not had the best of form this season, and to come out fighting like this in the final round is exactly what he would have needed to do. And he started this qualifying session off so strongly and is looking to pick up his first pole position of the season. And also with that, could maybe make it his first race win of the season as well, with that such a big advantage over the rest of the field. If he's able to correlate that into the race, he certainly could be in for that first race victory and end the season off with a bang. Baesner now heading into turn 11. He's up by 300ths in the first sector on his original lap. Went a little bit deep into turn 10, so the Mercedes driver going to be fighting to try and claw back some time that he has lost in this lap. There you see, down by 600 again, wide from the apex into turn 13, and Baesner surely he's going to back out of this one. Yes, he does. He's got to come into the pit lane to finish off that lap. Kai also coming into the pit lane, so all eyes will be on Alessandro Finn so far, as he's the only car out on the circuit. I say that Isaac Lee just leaves the pit lane and others do follow in tow. But for Alessandro Finn, like we have said so much this season, he is going to be the first driver to start off these final flying laps. And for Finn, it's been a best result this season of a third place in the USA in Texas. He'll be looking to try and put things right. I'll be looking to try and put that prancing horse at the top of the field. And he will try to do that in the best way possible and start the evening off with a bang and take that pole position. But with nearly a second to find, it's going to be very difficult for Alessandro Finn to even get near the front row of the grid.
It will be a big challenge, but that's what the final laps in qualifying are all about. It's giving it your absolute all, everything you have left in the tank that you think you have at your disposal. You're going to try and use it, and that is why it's so difficult to hook up a good lap of a final qualifying session, a good final lap in a qualifying session. In Bahrain specifically, it is super tricky. There's not many tracks that push yourself to the limit as hard as Bahrain does. It is such a hard corner. It has so much variation all through the lap. There's so many different types of corners that just really test you as he heads towards turn number 4. Alessandro Finn looking reasonable through the first sector at this stage, heading into the S's, 3 tenths up already. So clearly on his previous lap he made a mistake in the first sector, and he's finding lap time big time at this current moment as he heads through sector 2, through down the hill towards turn 9 and 10. On the brakes now, get the car pulled up. He pulls it up very nicely as he launches off the corner, and currently looking very strong to find himself at least a couple places up in this qualifying session as they head into the end of the session. There's 40 seconds left on the clock, so Alessandro Finn, this is his last opportunity to improve as he heads through towards the end of sector 2. How much is he going to be up on his previous best? 4 tenths at this current stage, so that puts him near the front row of the grid if he continues to improve at this current rate. Kai also ended his qualifying session early, so Alessandro Finn in prime position to take a final place in this qualifying session, with other drivers not doing final laps and the other drivers around him also on laps. That does put the pressure on, but a 25.990 for Alessandro Finn, and what a lap to take the front row.
That is a brilliant lap to put himself on the front row provisionally. Lighty has invalidated Ramirez. He's coming up to the first sector split now. Is he improving on his previous best? Yes, he is, by another quarter of a tenth. Ramirez finding time everywhere he looks. Exafox up by 800ths in the middle sector, but we do have Isaac Lee now heading up to the line. Where can the Papaya McLaren go? He goes into 9th place. Lighty, of course, has invalidated. Menno now up to the line in the other Ferrari. He only improves by 6 thousandths, not able to find a good enough lap time. Dimas, your champion, will start from best of 6th. but all eyes now look to Exafox. He is now up by nearly 3/10 of a second, but invalidates at the turn 13 apex. He's challenged for the front row of the grid, has been toppled, and for Exafox, it's disaster at the final hurdle to try and take the front row alongside the man who has dominated this qualifying session from the outset. Aaron Raminguez coming into the final corner now. He has a slide. Is it still going to be enough to improve on his previous lap time? No, DRS open as he heads to the line, crosses the line. No, wasn't able to improve. But what a lap time from Aaron Raminguez as Patrick Datmeyer and Igor Pajewski come up to the line. Pajewski up into the top 5. Datmeyer instantly takes that back from him, and Datmeyer into the top 5. One of the best qualifying display we've seen from him this season. But for Aaron Raminguez, what a lap. What a way to take your first pole position of the season. And he is ending the season off in qualifying with a bang, and under the lights. The pressure allowed the diamond to be formed, and Aaron Raminguez is your man on pole here in Bahrain.
Yeah, that is a very stellar lap from Raminguez to take the pole position, and it's still nearly over a tenth from Alessandro Finn, who just managed to claw within a tenth of Raminguez with a stellar final lap performance in this qualifying session. Went from all the way down the bottom of the order up into P2. That was an impressive lap. Kai never even came out for a final run. He was settled with his second lap in the session, so that just gives you a little bit of an insight into his confidence with his lap time, or at least the amount of time he had left in it. So here is your order for this qualifying session. So Aaron Raminguez takes pole position from Alessandro Finn, who finishes the front row. Then you have Kai, Lighty, Patrick Datmeyer, Igor Pashecki, Exafox, Alexander Dimas, Lucas Beisner, Daniel Gottschalk, Menno de Bever, Isaac Leet, and Paulo Alfonso rounds out your qualifying order in this session. And that was a very close qualifying session for a final race of the season.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was, of course, as we said, dominated by Raminguez, but still Alessandro Finn came so close to taking that pole position away. Of course, we're now getting into that normal lobby restarts for this one. Of course, everyone will stay in the lobby, but we just need to turn those collisions back on. But yeah, for Raminguez, what a way to finish the season off if he's able to convert that pole position into a race victory. But yeah, Alessandro Finn, again, another driver so close. He had a good qualifying in Vegas as well. Last time out, did the Scuderia Ferrari driver. He's able to repeat that here this evening. Finn could certainly be a shout of a race victory and try and beat at that third place, which is his best result of the season so far. Of course, you might see drivers moving a lot like they are just doing their normal retiring routine so they can get this field back up and running. But it's an interesting race here, Lindsay, of course. Everyone thinks it's the medium hard, but around this circuit, the mediums actually wear more than the softs over a lap. So it's going to be a soft hard or a hard soft. So that's going to be a strategy that might affect the drivers mentally, because they'll be on the Red Bull tyres and thinking, what am I doing on these? They're going to die quicker, so why am I not on the mediums?
Yeah, I think strategy definitely plays a massive role, and how the drivers decide to go about it is one thing as well. And I think something that we're used to seeing is the hard-soft strategy around the Bahrain circuit. I think that F3 just a few moments ago had a lot of their drivers start on the hard compound tyres, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. But being F4, a couple of drivers might try to change it up, change the way that they plan on going about this race to set up their result just slightly differently as they go into the race. So that is something to keep your mind on. But with such a dominant pole position from Raminguez, would you expect to see that sort of trend continue into the race?
I mean, I do expect that pace to somewhat correlate into the race as well from Raminguez. He is a very fast driver when he is fully focused and fully into the rhythm. So I do see him correlating that pace into the Grand Prix, but he still has to look out from behind. Of course, he's not been up the front for a lot of this season, so he's going to have to adapt to that rather quickly. Whereas the likes of Exafox, Dimas, who are a little bit further down the order in that midfield pack, can easily fight their way through. And even Alessandro Finn, who I've said, only one podium this season, but in the past few rounds, he has been slowly creeping into those top 5s. He's been up there for a majority of the race, and then maybe a mistake that might not even be his own does come into things and knocks him out of contention for that race victory. So he'll have a point to prove. But certainly for Ramirez, he'll be able to translate that pace into the Grand Prix. But talking about the strategy, if someone does go for the softs and there's an incident quite earlier on in the race, when it's around that soft tyre pit window, they'll be in the money. Going onto those hard compounded tyres where everybody else will have to stay out and then box again, we could really see maybe someone or multiple people gamble further back down the field onto those softs, and could really reap the reward if there is a safety car early on.
Yeah, and that's something always to keep in mind as a driver on the grid. When safety cars are at the disposal of the drivers, it's always possible for one to come early on in the race, so that is definitely a reason to start on the softs, and the hard compound tyres do last a very, very, very long time around this circuit and around most circuits on this F1 game. So that is a strategy that a lot of drivers do try and gamble with throughout league racing seasons, and I think that we'll see potentially 1 or 2, maybe even 3 drivers try start on those soft compound tyres, or they could surprise me and there could be even more of them. But I do think that the hard compound tyre will be the expecting starting tyre in this qualifying session. But while we wait for this session to get restarted, we'll hear a quick word from our partners over at GT. Righty, and we are back. So, just to recap the qualifying session. So our front row is Ramirez alongside Alessandro Finn, and those are the two that we're going to be keeping a close eye on at the start. Another thing to talk about is the Bahrain International Circuit. Turn 1 is very much a pinch point on lap 1. Very tight corner followed by an open left-hander that runs onto a small straight. It always creates quite an interesting lap 1 scenario. So is that something that the drivers might consider off the start? Will the driver on the inside just fully commit to it, or will we see the leaders covering off straight away?
Yeah, that's always a big factor around any circuit, but especially around Bahrain. As you said, it is a big pinch point for all the drivers in the field. But if Ramirez is able to get a good start, I'm expecting him to hold the racing line down into turn 1. But if he gets a little bit of wheel spin, he sees Finn maybe just creeping up that inside, he'll definitely come across and shut the door and just negate the loss of having to battle with the Ferrari all the way up into turn 4. So it's all going to be about this race start. If he gets it off cleanly, Ramirez, he'll certainly just stay on that racing line, and Finn probably won't be able to get alongside enough to go for that lunge into the first corner. But still, it's going to be a very difficult run down to turn 1 to manage. Of course, it's so short around this circuit that you pretty much let go of the clutch and you're already down at the first corner, especially when you're starting on pole. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, this circuit poses so many challenges, not only with the overtaking, but also with the tyre wear and just the traction zones, really, especially out of the likes of, say, turn 1, turn 8, and also out of turn 10. The traction is a big factor. So it's going to be interesting tonight, of course. And another thing to note is that we finished this season off here in Bahrain. We'll start next season, season 39, in Bahrain. So these drivers are somewhat getting a little bit of testing for the first round of next season. And this could maybe be a little preview in what we could see next season from some of these drivers, and a little glimpse of what the future may hold. But we're now into the lobby, And we'll see what tyres the drivers do go on. But definitely look out for Alessandro Finn into turn 1. He is a driver not afraid to get his elbows out. But Ramirez, if he perfects that start, will be able to hold on into the first corner.
Yeah, so it is going to be all eyes to the drivers in a moment's time as we get ready for the racing action. So the run down towards turn 1, not very long as Max was saying, and it definitely is going to create some sparks. And then after lap 1, we will have the DRS, and that's when the train will settle in just a little bit. But I do expect to see some position swapping as we go further and further into the laps, because not everyone is just going to want to stay complacent, especially with such a long straight at Bahrain. But now we get ready for the racing action here in PCF4. And we are underway here for the race, and already Ramirez gets off to a good start, but Finn already trying to show the nose as they head down towards turn 1. They're going to be wheel to wheel here for the race lead, and that is Finn down the inside, and he gets well alongside Ramirez, who's going to hold the place. But as they head onto the straight now, Finn will have the shorter run down towards turn 4, and the leaders are still wheel to wheel. Who dares to go last on the brakes? Finn has the inside line, but it looks like Ramirez is going to hold the place. Meanwhile, Leidy and Kai go wheel to wheel as they head down towards the S section, but they go back into a single file train. Meanwhile, in the background though, Fox was also wheel to wheel with Dimas as they head down the hill. And in the background again, it looks like Dachmeyer is in a bit of a scuffle here, and they're 3 wide down the back. Lead, Menno de Bever and Dovzan are wheel to wheel as they head through turn number 10. So at the back, it's a bit of a pinch point at the moment, as meanwhile Dimas and Fox are wheel to wheel as they head towards turn 11. But meanwhile as well, Lighty got up into P2.
Yeah, Lighty managing to capitalise there on Finn. I think just making a mistake out of turn 8. And the Alpine said, thank you very much. I'll move to the inside line through turn 10, and I'll take that position right from you. And it was like taking a candy from a baby. But Ramirez with a dream start, just not able to break out a DRS just yet in the Williams. But he'll be using everything, all the battery he can, to just try and get that 1 second gap. It's been a brilliant opening lap from the Williams driver. Yone Dosvan, as you may see, is a latecomer. He wasn't able to make qualifying, but is in for the race, and he's on the medium compounder tyre, surprisingly. A tyre which you wouldn't see really run around this circuit, but he is going to go for a move on Menno. He's going to look to the inside line on the Ferrari, and there's a little bit of kerfuffle further up as well. Patrick Dachmeyer falling behind Daniel Gottschalk. Isaac Lee now all over the back of the Aston Martin, and there you see up at the front, Pajecki going to look for a move on Kai, maybe up into turn 4, not able to get it done, but could go for a move on the exit. Just not able to get that overspeed he needed. But this is really starting to form a train behind Alessandro Finn, as Lighty starting the breakaway here with Aaron Ramirez up in front of this course. Those two dominated so much of qualifying, and Dosvan now picking off another driver of Isaac Lee into turn 9 and 10, and he's done a Fernando Alonso on Patrick Dachmeyer. Beautiful up and under move. If he's able to pull this one off on the exit on the Aston Martin driver. Dosvan, he may not have been here in qualifying, but he really is putting on a show here under the lights, and the spotlight is on the Haas driver for now on those mediums, and he might now capitalise on the 2 Mercedes drivers squabbling in front.
Yeah, making moves is Dovzan, and now he does go down the inside of turn 13, and he gets the move done on Gottschalk. And now the next driver ahead of him is Beisner in the other Mercedes. So the two teammates are now split by a Haas in the middle. So he's in a Mercedes sandwich, but he's not wasting any time trying to make up places in this race. But now we'll move towards the leaders as the DRS is wide open on the Alpine of Lighty. Will he go for a move for the lead down towards turn 1? No, he's going to sit behind. Same with Kai, with Finn. No, he won't. He's going to go down the inside. That's very late on the brakes. A very aggressive move there from Kai. He's going to try and sweep through, but he nearly loses the place to Pasheki as well in the background as they head towards turn 4. There's more squabbling as they head towards the braking zone. Kai late on the brakes, shows the dummy, but doesn't quite get it done as Pasheki tries now the inside as they head towards the S's. Surely they don't go wheel to wheel. Surely one of them backed out. They go wheel to wheel through the S's, but Kai holding onto the place. These two putting on an absolute show as Fox goes down the inside. Tried to get it done as Pasheki goes down the inside on Kai at turn number 9 as they now run towards turn 10. Kai gets the inside back at turn 10 and holds on to the place, but they're not done just yet as DRS still wide open down towards turn 11. These two battling away all throughout the lappers in the background. Dovzan isn't done yet either. He's making a move now on Dachmeyer. He got re-overtaken by the Mercedes down the straight and as well by Dachmeyer, and he's making back the places already. So he's a man on a mission here in the Haas.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that's why you may have heard me go all in the background of that move from Kai and Alessandro Things. I saw in the background, Yerne Dozfan nearly went straight into the back of Lucas Baesner. He really messed up his braking zone. He just got on the curb, locked up the rear tyres, and got it all wrong down the into turn 1. But here we go once again. We've got Alexander Dimas now behind the V-carb of Igor Brzezinski. As there goes actually Brzezinski to the outside line now of Kai. Is he going to get this one done? There's contact in the braking zone. The McLaren hops over the inside curve, and Brzezinski able to move himself up into that top 4, but crucially a second behind Alessandro Finson. He needs to find that over the course of the lap. Lucas Baesner now going for a move on Exafox up into turn 4. These drivers really are getting the elbows out for the final race of the season. Baesner looking to the inside line now into turn 6. Is he going to be able to pull this one off into the S section? That would have been bold. It would have been brave, but unfortunately not able to pull it off, but still was able to draw alongside into turn 8. And Baesner still fighting this one with Exafox. Is he going to go for the up and under on the Aston Martin? No, he's going to hold it around the outside again, but he's gone too late on the brakes. He's locked up that inside front. Exafox surely going to keep the position now, and unfortunately for Baesner, he will have to sit behind once more. But for Exafox, a really valiant effort to defend that one, and was able to keep hold of his 7th place, and now is looking forward to Alexander Dimas after the pressure has somewhat eased from the Mercedes behind.
Yeah, Exafox can't seem to catch a break, always under attack or putting the pressure on, and that is just the way it's going at the race start at Bahrain. We're only 4 laps into this race, and there's 29 more to go, and that doesn't even account strategy coming into this train as well, so it could very much be mixed up later on in this race, but already these drivers squabbling away very, very hard as Fox is going to now try and get the place as they head down the straight towards turn 1. The Aston Martin has a great run on the Red Bull of Dimas. Will he go down the inside? No, he won't, but Beisner does. He goes down the inside of turn 1. That's very bold from the Mercedes, but he's going to sweep the long way round as they head through turn 3 and take the place, but Fox isn't done just yet. He gets the inside line as they head down towards turn 4. Is he going to go late on the brakes? Yes, he is. They're wheel to wheel as they head through the apex of the corner. The Mercedes is now going to be put in a tough position on the outside of the S's, but they get the inside for the next portion as they flick through the left. That's a massive snap of oversteer there for Beisner, and now Gottschalk goes down the inside. So does Dovzan in the background as well, so it's all kicking off here further down the back at the edge of the top 10, but the Mercedes holds place. Exafox manages to hold place as now Isaac Leak goes down the inside of Dovzan, who runs just a little bit wide, nearly hits the back of the Mercedes, but they're still wheel to wheel as they head down the straight, and now Dovzan's going to try put his moves on once again towards turn 11, but he's not going to be close enough. But this battle pack up the back is truly spectacular to watch.
It certainly is. Just they're all getting their elbows out left, right and centre. They're all going for moves at every corner they possibly can. And for Lucas Baesner, once again, a valiant effort, unfortunately held back from Exafox in front. So, excuse me, as Lighty now leads the way from Aaron Ramirez. He was able to get the move done with the DRS. Another Williams driver coming under some pressure here from Alessandro Finn in the Ferrari. He's actually going to pull out to the inside line. Could get the pair of them down into turn 1. There goes Lighty on the right-hand side. He's been sailed by from the pair of them. But Finn able to get 2 cars down the main straight. Used all his battery in the process. But he now takes the race lead away. I did say he's a very aggressive driver when it comes to the moves. He will not care if he has to burn that whole battery tank. If he wants to get those moves done, he will do it. And he now takes the race lead here on lap 6 of 29. Aaron Ramirez thought he gained a place, but no, stays in 2nd place. And Igor Brzezinski is now just going to try and find his way back into this one, find his way back up to the back of the Alpine in front, and see if he's able to do anything. Threaten Lighty in front, or even try and do what Alessandro Finn did just at the start of this lap, and maybe get 2 cars down that main straight. But of course, this train spanning this whole field, no one out of DRS range, so moves will be made left, right and centre. It'll be all eyes on Alessandro Finn, Aaron Ramirez and Lighty as we head down into turn 1 on the next lap. So for the Ferraris, he's saving the battery through turns 11 and 12 and into 13. He'll be looking just to try and break a little gap down this straight so that he doesn't get passed by the pair of them down into turn 1 once again.
Yeah, but it's very, very tricky towards turn 1 at Bahrain. It's such a long straight, so not getting double overtaken is one of the challenges of being the leader of such a big train. But as they head towards lap 7 now, Ramirez is going to be back on the attack here with the DRS open on the Williams. But Leidy won't wait around either as they head down towards the braking zone. Leidy goes to the middle, Finn's on the inside, Ramirez is on the outside. Leidy goes down the inside of the both of them, gets that one done. He moves into the lead. Ramirez gets the place on Finn, but loses out to Leidy, so he's holding P2 again. But towards turn 4, is Finn done just yet as they head towards the braking zone? He's trying to show the nose, but he isn't close enough to go down the inside, so the leader's shuffling around. But the common theme currently is that Ramirez can't seem to move past P2.
No, he certainly cannot, and Dimas went wide. He outbroke himself behind Kai, and that's opened the door for Fox, who's just barged into that gap. And there we go once again. Kai's been spun round. Dimas involved. They both dropped down the order. Contact from Fox on the McLaren. Dimas on the inside with nowhere to go. And Kai and your champion-elect Alexander Dimas unfortunately dropped down the field, but they still, crucially, are within DRS range of the rest of the field. But for Kai and Dimas, disaster on lap 7 of the Grand Prix as the champion unfortunately gets involved in an incident that wasn't his fault. Fox just a bit too aggressive once again. That's a story we've seen so many times this season. He just gets a little bit too aggressive, too excited, seeing a move potentially on the cards, and he's caused another incident, and that is a story of his championship so far. The man we could be saying the champion-elect, not Dimas, due to penalties earlier on in the season, and the Aston Martin has just gone and done it again. He has picked up potentially another penalty at the end of this one, as Aaron Ringuez finally able to break up into the top of the field, as Baesner finally able to get past Fox, or is he? The Aston Martin fights back into turn 1. Baesner picks up 3 seconds for cutting across the track. He's exceeded track limits 3 times, and there goes Baesner past Fox, but the Aston Martin still fighting back into turn 4. It's Baesner's valiant effort once again going to be held back from the shield, which is Fox, but no, Baesner able to get in front now due to a slide from the Aston Martin. Here comes his teammate Gottschalk as well, who might go for a move into turn 8. He is. Fox defends aggressively, but Gottschalk even aggressiver on the brakes, and there he goes. He's fighting to the inside. He'll be the outside now for turns 9 and 10, or is he going to go for the switcheroo? No, he is not, but further back, Dosvan and Isaac Leet scrapping over 8th and 9th places respectively. Lowest medium tyres still holding up well for Jerne Dosvan, but he's side by side with Leeds as they head down into turn 11. The McLaren just going to come out on top as they hit the brakes once again into turn 11. But for Lucas Baesner, all that squabbling has dropped him 1.6 seconds behind Igor Brzezinski, and unfortunately has dropped the rest of the field off that top 4 train.
Yeah, and that's the opposite to what you want around Bahrain. Losing the DRS is like losing a limb. You cannot drop out of the DRS range. It's almost impossible to close back in. So it's going to take one very, very good drive from Baesner to get back into the DRS range of Pszczewski, but it's really heating up here, up and down the field, but the fight for the lead is still going on as Leighty takes the place back as we go back to Fox, who's maybe going to put the pressure on. No, it's Isaac Leet in the background putting the pressure on down towards turn 1 on Menno de Bever, but Menno de Bever's going side by side with Gottschalk as they head towards turn 4 now. The DRS wide open on the Ferrari. He's pushed all the way to the white line. He's over the sand, and he's going to go late on the brakes, but he isn't able to get it, and now Isaac Leet tries the long way round, but that's Baesner really slow, Gottschalk really slow on the exit as they head down the hill. Bever gets a run once again and isn't able to get the place once again, but he's putting all the pressure onto the Mercedes at the moment. He goes down the inside and he's going to try get the place now as they run down the hill through the exit. It's a good exit from the Ferrari, but the Mercedes has the inside of turn 10 and he's going to hold on to the place. Stellar defense from Gottschalk to hold on to the place from Menno de Bever, who's putting some immense pressure on, but Isaac Leet also putting the pressure on, forcing some of these moves from the prancing horse.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that move up into turn 4 just gave me flashbacks to 2010. With all the time you have to leave the space, as Menno was forced to that inside line by Gottschalk, and actually did go off the road ever so slightly. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Ferrari was just shouting that inside his cockpit, but unfortunately wasn't able to get the move done, even with a stellar dive bomb to the inside on the Mercedes driver in front. But I don't think Gottschalk has got DRS this time around. Yes, he does actually. The Mercedes driver's Ramirez takes the lead back out in front. So the top 4 just starting the breakaway, and there goes Lucas Baisler. Him and Isaac Lee are going to sorry, not Isaac Lee. Him and Exafox are going to start to work well together as they try and close that gap down to the top 4. But there goes Isaac Lee past Menno Tobeva. Here comes Patrick Datmeyer as well as Pacheshki able to get past Alessandro Finn up into turn 4. Isaac Lee now to the inside of Daniel Gottschalk. Is he going to get this move done? It's a switchback from the Mercedes driver. He's just got a little bit too trigger happy though on the throttle, has a slide, and unfortunately not able to pick up, keep that 7th place, to the McLaren in front of him. And they're starting to catch up now to Exafox and Baisner in front. Menno was able to hold off Patrick Datmeyer up into turn 4 as well, but we have of course had that switch for 3rd place, and now Igor Pashecki is going to be looking to try and close down and try get past the top 2. Of course, the pit window will probably be around about lap 19, lap 20 in this Grand Prix when the drivers want to move from those hards to the softs. If you're Yerne Dos fan, it'll be within the next few laps. But Aaron Ramirez goes deep into turn 13. This could really open up an opportunity for Lighty and also maybe Pashecki into turn 1.
Yeah, Pasheshki in prime position to try and get the P1 place. We've seen the 3rd car in the train take the lead several times so far this race. You can't count out Alessandro Finn either with his aggressive overtaking that we've seen throughout this race. But as they head through the DRS zone, Lighty pulls to the left-hand side, and Ramirez isn't going to be able to defend it too well. And they're 3 wide nearly down towards turn 1. Finn did have the nose in there temporarily, but now Ramirez is side-by-side with Pasheshki as they head through the exit of turn 3 and now onto the straight and turn 4. And Finn is now wheel to wheel with Pasheshki as they head down towards the braking zone, but he isn't able to get it done. Now Pasheshki tries the long way round at Ramirez, isn't able to pull that one off, but the top 4 in an absolute league of their own at the moment compared to the rest of the grid. But with all this fighting, potentially that could allow Exafox to close back in at some point soon, as that gap has closed just a tiny bit with all this scrapping.
Yeah, it certainly is going to start closing with all this scrapping between the top 4 as Exafox now 2.1 seconds behind. We'll monitor that gap if these top 4 do end up fighting just a little bit more in this race. But of course, Exafox is just going to try be working together with Lucas Baisner, who's actually dropped somewhat. That gap now 0.6 of a second between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes as we head back up the hill into turns 12 and 13. So for Lighty, he has a big job on his hands to try and keep Ramirez behind, but also not allow him to get overtaken by Igor Pashecki as we then head down the hill once more into turn 14. Of course, this field separated into 2 trains currently with that top 4 and then everybody behind Exafox. But that gap now 1.8 seconds between the Aston Martin and that top 4 in the field. As you can see, here comes Ramirez getting closer and closer to Lighty. So we head down into turn 1, late on the brakes from the Williams. Lighty not able to hold this one around the outside, and a nice DRS move being made there from Aaron Ramirez. But Lighty could still fight this one back with the DRS. Menno and Kai are fighting in the background. I don't think Lighty is going to fight it up into turn 4. So who's going to come out on top between the McLaren and the Ferrari? It is going to be Kai able to get in front of Menno, and Lucas Baisner also able to get in front of Exafox. But that gap now 2.7 seconds. That just shows you how much time is lost with the DRS. A second was lost without the DRS there for Exafox, and that is so detrimental, especially to the everybody behind this train, to just keep losing about a second a lap to that top 4 is going to be so disheartening when you're especially driving as well as Exafox is.
Yeah, and that's just part of it here at Bahrain. You lose the DRS and you can't close back in, and it is really disheartening as one of the drivers who definitely has the pace. We saw at the start of the race and in the qualifying session as well, every driver up and down the grid currently has good pace compared to the leaders. It wasn't too big of a field spread, so it allows anybody to get into the party as long as you have DRS, but they lost DRS quite early on in this race, and now it's a battle for P5 in this big train from P5 all the way down to P14, but the main suspects in this battle are Bysner, Exafox, and Isaac Elite as they head towards turn 1, and the leader swapping around once again, and Exafox down the straight is going to get the move done, as well as Isaac Elite thought about putting the nose in, but not quite close enough. But the run towards turn 4 is where sparks have seemed to fly between Bysner and Exafox. So we'll stay with this battle as they open up the DRS towards turn 4. Exafox got a brilliant run through turn 1, so it doesn't look like Bysner is going to be close enough this time, and the leaders aren't scrapping around too much either. So everybody's staying a little bit more single file now here on lap 13, maybe just settling into a rhythm just a bit.
Yeah, they are going to all just start setting into a rhythm, of course, at this stage where track position is so important. They certainly don't want to lose that gap to the drivers behind for them to really start bringing that down and get within DRS range. Alessandro Finn with a big slide out of turn 10. That's going to cost him massively to Igor Brzezinski in front. Luckily, he's going to stick within DRS for now, though. I'm surprised by Yerne Dojfan still being out on the circuit. I would have thought around about now would be when he comes into the pit lane. So he could maybe do that at the end of this lap. We never know what he is going to do. He could even be trying a medium soft in this Grand Prix, but that will certainly be a bit of a push. The soft tyre wear is still quite high, and he is really all over the road at the minute. He's starting to struggle big time with the grip from the front, and the Ree's picked up a 3-second time penalty to boot, as well as we then head down that main straight once more with Aaron Raminguez and Lighty still in this scrap for P1 and 2. And there we go once again. Raminguez getting a nice move made on Lighty with the DRS and getting it done just before he hits the brakes into that first corner. Dozfan then fell back to the back of this queue and down into 14th place, being passed by Paulo Alfonso. And back at the front of this queue, we do have Basner and Exafox still swapping places. Exafox just letting Basner through once again. Of course, has that DRS, but that gap still staying around about 2.8 seconds. Not really getting bigger or smaller as the laps tick by. So for Exafox and Basner, it's going to be a long old race on their hands, and maybe the undercut could come into their favour, and that's certainly what some of these drivers might do when they're down at the back of this field here, as Patrick Datmeyer makes a mistake and is overtaken by both Menno and Kai heading into turn 10.
Yeah, massive snap on the exit of turn 8, and it just wasn't going to work for the Aston Martin. Got swamped by Menno de Beva and Kai, and that was always going to happen, and now he's got some work ahead of him to get those places back, as also Xfox was nearly under pressure as well from Isaac Elite on the exit of turn 10. Just a little bit slow drive off the corner from Xfox, but it doesn't look like that trend is continuing as they continue to push behind Bison to swap positions with the DRS, potentially battling towards turn 4. But as they get closer and closer to the pit window, it looks like they're just settling into rhythm. As I stated before, it is not the time to be battling super hard. The DRS overtakes are going to be the prominent overtakes in display, as Isaac Elite also taking his opportunity to get past Bysner as they head into the turn 1 braking zone, who's not going to fight that back, but Gottschalk goes down the inside and tries to fight his teammate just a little bit in the background, so potentially a little bit of a silver war going on as Exafox and Isaac Elite swap positions into the turn 4 braking zone, but the Mercedes not swapping around, but Gottschalk tried the move but wasn't quite able to pull it off as up the front as well. Not too much position swapping going on at the moment as Dovzan went to the back of the grid, but now he's well off the back of the train completely, 3.8 seconds back from Paulo Alfonso at the back of the grid.
Yeah, Dozfan really starting to struggle with the tyres. They're going to be at a stage where they're nearing going to be the punching phase. Are his medium compounded tyres. They're going to have no grip at all, and it's going to just feel like driving on ice, especially around a circuit like this, where traction is so crucial. But at the front of the field, Lighty leads Aaron Raminguez from Alessandro Finn, who was able to get the move done on Brzezinski on that last lap down into turn 1. So this is really where we're going to be looking for a majority of this race. The gap between Isaac Lee has gone up by a second since the McLaren took charge of the helm at that train behind them. But here we go, once again, down into turn 1. We've seen how aggressive Alessandro Finn has been in the past, trying to get past the two cars in front of him. He's not going to be as aggressive this time as Yerne Dozfan brought out a yellow flag. Raminguez moves to the front of the field. Exafox able to get past Isaac Lee Is there going to be a move as well here from Lucas Baitner? No, he's not. He's not going to be close enough on the McLaren. But again, another yellow flag being brought out. Is Alexander Dimas to the inside of Patrick Datmeyer, not able to get the move done. The champion struggling to score points. He's scored points in every race this season. Will want to try and keep that streak alive, as Doddsvan has retired in the pit lane. Unfortunately, wasn't able to attend qualifying. Tried his best in the race, had a really good opening stint, but it all just started to go away from him as those tyres progressed and got older and older. But Alexander Dimas trying to put Datmeyer under pressure once again into the braking zone of 8, not able to get it done. But this is now critical stages of the Grand Prix, as within the next few laps we'll see drivers darting into the pit lane to put on those red wall soft compounded tyres.
Yeah, and that is going to be the big talking point. But with Dimas outside the points currently in P12, this is where you think, what if Campbell Adams had showed up to the race? Would he be fighting for the win currently, and Dimas outside the points? That could have changed the championship fight entirely, and Campbell Adams might look back at this race and be kicking himself just a little bit, depending on the end result and where Alexander Dimas finishes. But that's just the sort of things you've got to be thinking about as a driver, and Dimas knows he's safe, so he doesn't have to worry too much about squabbling up the back. But imagine that Campbell had been here. It would be a completely different story currently at this stage of the race. Dimas would definitely be a little bit more aggressive with his moves, I think, as Ramirez moves down into P2. Finn doesn't go back down the inside. But yeah, definitely something to think about there for Campbell Adams if he looks back at this season and he had to choose one thing to probably change. I think it might be the fact that he hasn't shown up here for the final round.
Yeah, of course. He's certainly going to be kicking himself over this, because the man stepping into his seat, Aaron Ramirez, is at the front of the field, and this would have been a dream scenario for Campbell Adams if he was in that Williams car. He has already said it wasn't his strongest circuit, but when you're in a championship fight, you've got to attend these races, especially if it's a finale. Even if it does seem impossible, there is still just that 1% chance that impossible can happen. And for Campbell Adams, who's unfortunately, due to him having no time, he unfortunately was not able to attend, and he will be absolutely kicking himself and just thinking, what if I did turn up to this Grand Prix? But Dimas, currently sitting in 12th, knows he's got that championship all wrapped up, and he does not have to worry about any permutations of where he finishes. He can just race for a bit of fun. So back up at the front of the field, Aaron Ramirez behind Lighty once again. The Alpine, is he going to be under threat by Alessandro Finn as well, who is getting close to the back of Ramirez, the Ferrari driver, getting closer and closer. He's used some of that battery. He's burning it ever so slightly. You can see Ramirez going into an under-D rate. There is some drivers into the pit lane of Baisner and Menno de Bever. There's some drivers to look out for here, as they will put on the soft compounded tyres, and we'll see what they're able to do. Menno actually going onto the mediums, but Baisner onto the softs. DRS open once again, heading up into turn 4. Nothing being done there, but now this is a very crucial stage of the Grand Prix, especially for the likes of Fox and Gottschalk, who are fighting with Lucas Baisner. Let's see how strong this undercut is going to be, because of course this circuit, so many traction zones, those fresh tyres are going to be finding them heaps of time.
Yeah, and the undercut is always really, really strong on this game, and a track like Bahrain as well is ever more crucial. The tyre wear isn't particularly low at this circuit, so it's all going to be really interesting to see how it shakes up the train as more and more drivers come into the pit lane. But there's 11 laps to go here in this race, so drivers don't have too much longer before they really have to consider coming in to box. And with the first of the people pitting, I would imagine the rest of the grid will follow suit any time now. Probably a lot more this lap, and then some others just doing an extra lap past this one. So it'll be interesting to see when everybody pulls the trigger. But the front battle will be thinking about that pit stop soon, and this is going to be the most interesting pit stop phase here in the front pack as they head towards the straight. And I don't think any of them are pitting at this stage. No, they're not. So the front 4 don't think that they need to pit just yet, as Alessandro Finn goes to the left-hand side of Ramirez, and he's going to go 3 wide as well, as they're side-by-side with Lighty as they head through turn 1. But Lighty breaks late, holds the place. Finn gets the inside of Ramirez as they head up the hill, but Ramirez has the inside as they head down towards turn 4. So let's see who breaks late. There's contact down the straight. They nearly went 3 wide. Ramirez just shows the nose ever so more, and he gets to hold onto the place, as now Pasheshki holds on and gets a move as well, taking advantage of Finn's error and contact down the straight.
That was beautiful racing and beautifully picked off there by Przeszki. Saw the door open after Finn making the mistake and went, thank you very much. I'm moving up to third place and now looking to try attack the top two in front. Lighty going a little bit deep into turn 10. Baesner and Menno's undercut really worked in their favour. They've gained 1.6 seconds over Kai in that whole pit stop scenario. So for Lucas Baesner, he potentially could see himself back in contention of fighting for this race victory on the road. So as we're now heading into turn 13, surely someone from this top four is going to pull the pin and come into the pits. But who will it be? I'm expecting it to either be Przeszki or Finn, and maybe even Ramirez as well might go for an undercut attempt. So as we exit out of the final corner, we see now Lighty in, Ramirez in. They're all coming in from that top four, and Isaac Lee also following them in. Everyone into the pit lane that has stayed out, except from Patrick Datmeyer. He wants to lead that lap on the road, but now we see where Lucas Baesner comes out in relation to the front runners in this field, as he now heads through turn 14 and 15. It's all about this exit, all about this drive. Him and Menno have been working well together to close this gap down. They've set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. They're exiting the pit lane now as Ramirez and Lighty. Here comes Baesner and also Menno. They're going to pull alongside Aaron Ramirez as they head into turn 1, but Ramirez just able to hold on, but he won't have any DRS, I don't think. Will the Williams? Yes, he will. He just has the DRS on Lighty in front to help him along, as here comes that Igor Przeszki on the inside of Menno Debeva, and he's able to move back up into 5th place, which of course will turn into 4th when Datmeyer comes into the pit lane. But that undercut really has worked well for the likes of Baesner, Menno, Kai, and also Alexander Dimas, as now the field is won again.
Yep, the train has closed back together, and that makes it ever so more exciting, because now it is back to being anybody's game here as to who can climb up the order and take the victory. We still have our usual suspects who have been fighting up the front in that top 5 area of Lighty, Ramirez, and Finn as well has dropped back during the pit stop phase. So not Finn anymore, but Baesner is right there, but he crucially has a penalty in this race as Exafox is trying to move past Paolo Alfonso, but he does get the move done in the Aston Martin. But the front train has been mixed up just a little bit as we finally see Datmeyer come into the pit lane, but with the field whole again, you never know what's going to happen now, much like we saw at the start of the race. But there's 8 laps to go here in Bahrain. It's anybody's guess as to what will happen, as Lighty is going to be defensive here to Ramirez, but there's nothing you can do with the DRS open, as Przeszki also trying to get past Baesner towards turn 1, and he does get that place. So the RB moving up past the Mercedes as Alessandro Finn in P5 trying to close his way back towards that top 3 area where he was earlier on, but still the top 5, not a bad place to be. And he's going to go down the inside of turn 4 on the Mercedes, very close to contact, but they don't come into contact with each other. And now Finn gets the inside for the fast right, and Baesner backs out of it. Finn moves back up into the top 4, right where he was before, with Przeszki in front of him, as well as Lighty and Ramirez. So Finn right back into it.
Yeah, he certainly is, and this really is getting to a critical stage of the Grand Prix. Of course, lap 21 of 29, we have 9 laps to go. We'll make that 8.5 now as we're heading down the back straight, the national pit straight, of course, as we head down into turn 11. But for Ramirez and Lighty, they are in prime position for this race victory. Of course, Lighty was in that championship battle all the way till Vegas last time out, where unfortunately he finished in 12th and got eliminated from the championship contention, but of course did pick up that race win in the other race in the Middle East that is under the lights. He has a good record in the Middle East, actually. A 2nd place in Qatar, then a win in Saudi Arabia, and if he's able to round that off with another win here in Bahrain, or at least another podium, he is very, very strong in these parts of the world. Lighty now takes that race lead away from Aaron Ramirez, and here comes Kai on Menno Debeva as they head into turn 1. The mediums not holding up too well for the Scarlet Red Ferrari, as once again Kai now looking to the inside. This might actually invite Alexander Dimas into the fray. Of course, your champion-elect, could he go for 2 into 1? He's making it 3 wide into turn 4. He's forcing the error from the pair of them, not able to get the drive out of the corner though, and here comes Kai to the outside, then around the outside through turn 6, beautifully held on those softs on Menno in front, and now Dimas gonna try to do the same thing, maybe the up and under on the exit of turn 8, not able to get that move done, but Alexander Dimas still looming large in the mirrors, and for Kai, he's luckily still within DRS range of Lucas Baser, and Isaac Leitz has just sent a lunge from out of nowhere down into turn 10. He's been really brave there, and this has invited Exafox to make it 3 wide down into turn 11. He's had to back out of it on Leitz. He's still to the inside of Dimas. There's contact between the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. We saw this squabble early on in the race. It ended in disaster when they were following a McLaren last time around. That was the other McLaren, Akai, and there's Dimas aggressively to the inside. He gets his elbows out. He's showing why he's the champion, and he keeps that 9th place, but now he's going to have to re-past Isaac Lee and then try to get Menno as well. But it's all kicking off in this mid-pack here as Paul Alfonso picks up a 3-second time penalty as Isaac Lee is now getting past the Ferrari of Menno.
Yeah, so the battling will continue as the gloves come further and further off, as the laps tick further and further down, as Exafox goes down the inside of Alexander Dimas, and they're still wheel to wheel. Exafox barely has a nose alongside, has to go off the track to try and keep this battle alive as they head towards turn 4. Will Exafox go down the inside under braking? No, he won't, but I'm sure this battle is far from over, as the two McLarens, the two cars in P6 and P7, they must have just a little bit of safety feeling around them, as they have a bit of a gap to the next car in front and a bit of a gap to the next car behind, as Exafox makes a very good lunge down the inside of Alexander Dimas as they head towards turn 9 and turn 10. Exafox takes the place to get into P9, and Alexander Dimas once again struggling to find himself clinging on to the top 10 as he just finds himself falling further down the order as the race moves further and further on, and the pit stop did bring him back into it, but now he's just dropping further and further down as this race goes further on, and next to try and overtake Dimas will be Gottschalk, but I'm sure that Dimas will have another go at Exafox, but Exafox might not wait that long as he is right up behind Menno de Beva towards the final corner. Will Exafox try a last corner lunge, or will they wait for the DRS? Let's see what the Aston Martin does into the braking zone. Sits behind, but now with the DRS, surely Exa will move into the top 8 in the slipstream of the Scarlet Red Ferrari. DRS wide open for both of the cars, but Exafox right behind pulls to the left-hand side. He's going to have to try the long way round as they head towards turn 1, but the Ferrari's going to fight this back, but Exafox very late on the brakes, but inching back ahead goes Menno de Beva as they head up the hill towards turn 4. They're still side by side. This invites Dimas into it as well. If they're not careful, they're nearly 3 wide. Will Dimas go down the inside? No, they won't, but he does go down the inside of Exafox as they make contact just a little bit on the apex, and now Gottschalk gets involved as well as they head toward the apex now, and they head through towards the S's. Gottschalk has to cut the track to keep his nose in, and now he's going to be under pressure from Dimas and Afonso as well in the background, trying to hold on to the place as this battle really kicking off here as they head down towards turn 9 and turn 10.
Yeah, really kicking off in the midfield and up at the front as well. Przecki failed overtake on Aaron Dominguez allows Alessandro Finn to move up into 3rd place, who was looking to try and pick up his first race win of the season in that prancing horse. But Menno, the other prancing horse, holding up a train of cars behind him. And unfortunately, they have dropped off the back of Isaac Lee, and they will not be able to contest for this race victory as of yet. But for Menno, he's now got Daniel Gottschalk all over the back of him. He was able to get past Exafox earlier on in this lap, as Lindsay already has said. So Gottschalk now heading into that final corner. Keep an eye on the front of the field as well. It could still all kick off there. Is actually, I think I saw Kai pulling out to the inside of Lucas Baisner. Yes, he has. He's able to get the move done on the Mercedes driver. Is anyone going for a move further up at the top? No, they are not. So back to that Exafox, Menno and Daniel Gottschalk battle, and both Gottschalk and Exafox able to move up past the Scarlet Red Ferrari, and unfortunately for Menno under lights, he's having to fall further and further backwards, and now Dimas is looking to the inside line as Isaac Lee now to get past Lucas Baisner up into turn 4, and Alexander Dimas going for the switchback on the prancing horse, but unfortunately not able to do so, and Menno not having a lot of power in this situation, and on those mediums is just not having a very, very good time of things. They're not giving him the grip he would have wanted at this stage of the race, and it is a strategy has not gone to plan at all. But back up at the top, Alessandro Finn here, Lindsay, has brought that gap down to Aaron Dominguez, and he is looking very racy at this stage. He is very good at looking after those tyres, and that's exactly what he's done so far in this race, and now he's making those moves count. Making those moves when it matters the most.
Yeah, and we've seen Finn be aggressive earlier on in this race, and now I think we'll see another shine of that come out as they head into the final leg of this race, as they head towards lap 26. This is where the gloves are completely off. There is nothing to be held against these drivers as they go to battle. This is the final 4 laps of the season ahead of them, and they are going to fight tooth and nail for the victory. Lighty has a little bit of a gap, and he's not going to get re-overtaken down into turn 1, I don't think. But Ramirez did try, but Finn now tries the outside very late on the brakes from the Ferrari, puts the nose in. This is the aggression we've been used to seeing over the course of this race from Alessandro Finn. But now Paszewski tries to go the outside of turn 4, and Finn is going to have to defend, and Paszewski moves into P3, but Finn gets the cutback and gets back through into P3, and now Kai and Isaac Elite find themselves on the back of this battle as well. So this isn't just a top 4 fight, this is a top 7 fight, as Beisner as well in the background is going to join into that train, but he does have a penalty as well, so that'll play very poorly for the end of his races. Meanwhile, further back as well, it was Exa Fox going wheel to wheel with Gottschalk through turn 8, but back up towards the front with the DRS open. Ramirez won't be close enough to go for a move on Lighty, but Finn has been very aggressive, very punchy as they head through towards the 3rd sector. A very action-packed 1st sector. Now they'll recharge, stay close, and get ready to attack once again as they head towards lap 27.
Yeah, they certainly will. Alessandro Finn been very aggressive, but I just think at this stage he needs to play the numbers game. Just sit behind for now, Alessandro. Wait until lap 29 to start using that battery. Just focus on keeping that 3rd place for now and then go forward as this race progresses. Or if you're going to try go for 2nd place, make sure you do it right. You can't afford any mistakes at this stage when you're squabbling for a race victory. As here he comes once again, and Ramirez into turn 1. There's contact between the Williams and the Ferrari under braking. A bit of a slide again there from Alessandro Finn. Igor Paszewski, of course, still looming in the wings in case anything happens here between the drivers squabbling for 2nd place. There goes Ramirez on the inside. Finn trying to hold it around the outside. Paszewski's got to get the run on the exit of the corner. Not able to do so, but Alessandro Finn is able to keep hold of 3rd place for now, but he needs to save that battery. That's the main thing he needs to do to make sure he's in prime position for that final lap of the Grand Prix. He needs a full tank of battery like Ramirez has done. Lighty is nearly at a full tank as well. So for Alessandro Finn, his situation must change. His focus must change, and it has to be on sitting behind at least for the next lap, save that battery, then attack on lap 29. But it's all going to get very feisty indeed with these final 2 laps of the race remaining, with the 2 McLarens of course not want to get involved in any unnecessary squabbling between themselves. They're going to be looking to get past the V-carb at the earliest of conveniences, but for Ramirez, he's still in the hot seat. He's in 2nd place and just needs to stay there for another lap.
Yeah, as they head towards the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix here in the Bahrain International Circuit, as they now head towards lap 28 of 29. This is where it becomes all to play for. This is where you really need to place your car where you want it, heading towards the final lap. So if you want to be the P2 or the P3 car, now is the time to make it that way. And Finn is not waiting around. He's going to go down the inside of both of them, and he's trying to take the race lead at turn 1. There's a bit of contact in the background. They're 3 wide. Isaac Elite takes P3. Ramirez drops back to P4, and Paszewski is also now trying to get involved, as well as Kai, as they head towards the braking zone. They're 3 wide towards turn 4. Ramirez on the inside of Isaac Elite, trying to get back into P3 where he wants his car to be as they head towards the S's now. He goes to the inside, and he's going to continue to push. He has the inside for turn number 8. He really wants that P3 spot, but meanwhile they're bleeding lap time to the cars in front of him, but they will still be close enough for the DRS as they head down through turn 9 and into turn 10. Isaac Elite does have the inside, but Ramirez is going to sweep the long way round, and an impressive move from Ramirez to get back into P3. And now they're setting up the final lap as the leaders are squabbling, and now Ramirez tried to show the nose of turn number 11 as well to try get into P2. That is the place you want to be on, heading towards lap number 29, as Isaac Elite is also under pressure from Paszewski here, who wants to be the P4 car.
He certainly does, and Alessandro Finn is trying to force Lighty into giving him that DRS down the main straight. But here we go then, the final lap of the season will commence, as we have had so much controversy. So the championship went down to 8 points at a certain point of the season. We're heading into last race with an equal advantage between the top two, but Lighty now takes the race lead from Alessandro Finn. Raminguez up in a second. Here comes Isaac. Leeds late on the brakes down into turn 1. That is a dive bomb and a half from the McLaren driver, but all eyes now to Raminguez up in front. He's chasing, he's hustling behind the Alpine of Lighty, who's looking to make it 3 podiums and 2 race wins in the Middle East, as Isaac Lee and Alessandro Finn still squabbling away. This is allowing Igor Brzezinski to get involved as well. The McLaren driver currently sitting in 4th place under pressure, as there goes the V-Cup to the inside. There's contact made. Alessandro Finn will surely hold 3rd place now after that, but back up to that squabble for the lead. Raminguez versus Lighty, a driver with a race win under his belt, the other subbing in here this evening. Who will come out on top? Raminguez using all the battery he can, trying to use that slipstream. It's not enough as we head down into turn 11. He needs such a good drive out of turn 13 if he wants to take this race victory away from the Alpine driver. It's all going to be about this exit now. Keep your nerve, Raminguez, and you're going to be able to try and fight for your first race win of the season. Here we are then, heading down into the final corner. Is Raminguez going to go for it? No, he's just going to sit behind for now. Lighty derating in front. He's used all the battery he can. Who's going to win the final race of the season? It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get there? It's Lighty by 4 thousandths of a second. The Alpine wins under the lights, and for the Alpine driver, he makes it 3 podiums and 2 wins in the Middle East by the barest of margins once again. It was a photo finish at Saudi Arabia. It's a photo finish here in Bahrain. It's something about being under the night lights that this man really does shine him. Just, of course, as the name foretells, Lighty wins here in Bahrain.
Yeah, and what a photo finish it wasn't. It wasn't the only photo finish up and down the grid. Dakmeyer, Exafox, and Alexander Demas went 3 wide across the line, and the 2 Astons were separated by 2 thousandths, and Demas only a 200th back from that. So a lot of photo finishes here under the lights in Bahrain to end what has been a fantastic season, and what a fantastic race it was to end the season, and Lighty taking the win against the odds. He hadn't been up the front during the first stint. Well, he had been, but not really in a position like Alessandro or Raminguez, but he showed up in the final stint after the pit stops and was up the front almost the entire time, controlling the race as the P2 car wasn't able to get past, and he just used that to his advantage, and he took the race win in what was a fantastic final race of the season.
Yeah, what a way to end off the season with a bang, and so much to look forward to heading into season 39. Of course, we end the season here. We'll then go and start next season here in Bahrain under the lights once more. But yeah, what a final race that was, and for it just really sums up the season. That photo finish, it was so close between in the championship for a majority of this season, all the way till Vegas. We had 8 drivers in contention of a championship victory, and the man who finished in 10th place, Alexander Dimas, was the man who picked up the championship in the end. But Lighty can still be proud of himself. That race victory has really just helped his causes in the standings as well, and I think actually allows him to finish 3rd in the standings. So well done there to Lighty. It does promote him up 2 places in the standings. He will finish in that top 3. But Lindsay, wow, just wow. What a race we just had. And under the lights, the man with lights in his name does prevail.
Yep, it was an absolutely spectacular finish to the race. You couldn't have said it any better yourself, Max, and Lighty just took the win. He soaked up the pressure, and a drag race to the line could not be any more of a poetic way to finish a season, and that is exactly how you want to finish a season. And as you said, it's the opener for next season, so that is just a sign of things to come here for PSGL as they head towards the next season, and what a finish it was.
Yeah, it really was a brilliant finish to this Grand Prix. And if we can get something like that next season, I will be very, very happy. And what a way to start it off it will be. But now that pressure is going to be on Lighty heading into next season, because of course he just won here at the end of season 38. So at the start of the season, you're expecting him to try and correlate the same results. But yeah, a brilliant drive from him. And then, of course, massive congratulations to Alexander Dimas, who thought he would come in today originally as fighting for a title with it in one hand, but still with a little bit of work to do. But with Campbell Adams not attending, he was able to come into this one with nothing on the line and was just able to drive the way he wanted to. So a massive congrats to Alexander Dimas, the PSGL PCF4 champion of the world. And for Dimas, it is going to be a very, very well-deserved title. Of course, 3 victories throughout the season, won the last 2 before this one. And of course, last season was known as the nearly man, the bridesmaid, but never the bride when it came to race victories. He was able to pick up 3 this season. And from that race in Monaco, his championship hopes really did come alive. And he, especially since that festive break, was on absolute fire. So for Alexander Dimas, massive congratulations. And I hope to see him do well in F4 next season. F3, sorry, next season.
So that is a way to end up the season, to say the least. And yeah, it has been an absolutely big honour to be in the comms box for the final race of the season, having not been here for the rest of it. But Max, if you just had to give a consensus of the entire season, not just this final race, but the entire season, how would you wrap it up?
Just absolute chaos, drama, controversy, the lot. Everything has come up this season. As I said earlier in the show, Exafox we could have crowned Exafox as the champion if it wasn't for incidents that he got involved in that gave him some time penalties. A bit like what we saw today with the whole Kai situation. And yeah, it's just had everything to it. It's been so close, and it's come out with a deserving champion. And it's been a pleasure to have it alongside Myth, and it's been a pleasure as well, Lindsay, for you to step in for this final round of the season. And I hope you enjoyed your debut here in PSGL PC F4. But yeah, it was just an overall absolute classic of the season, and that's what PSGL provides. Last season was a classic, this season was a classic, and the title always goes down to the wire. And yeah, it's just been a fantastic season, and thank you all at home as well for tuning in and supporting us here at F4 and at PSGL to make everything that we do possible. So yeah, just been an absolutely amazing season, and a pleasure to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I definitely did enjoy my commentary debut here in PSGL, and I don't think there's much of a better race to debut in. A photo finish across the line for more than one driver definitely is a way to end a season. But I have been Lindsay Muddle, and joining me in the box has been Max Ring. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next season.